Welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. We're your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking in on us. I want to go through this concept of chop wood, carry water. It's a phrase originating from Zen Buddhism and some samurai practices, and it's also a book. And it's a book that I always have some of my students read when they reach a certain level to help keep them grounded. It keeps me grounded. I read the book probably 2 or 3 times a year, and I also have the audio book, and it's pretty good stuff. Now, the book Chop Wood, Carry Water: How to Fall in Love with the Process of Becoming Great by Joshua Medcalf. I'll put a link on there so you can go check that out. Now, the book itself, it's sort of a fictional approach based on the concept, and a character, or the main protagonist, John. He teams up with his sensei Akira, and he is a archer. He's learning the Kyoto, the Japanese approach to archery. He's learning that, and his sensei takes him through that process, and he learns a lot of good lessons, a lot of Zen infused lessons along the way. The concept chop wood, carry water is, as I said, it originates from Zen Buddhism, and it's a reminder to stay focused on the present moment, to focus on the task at hand, rather than creating anxiety in yourself and worrying about the future or the outcomes, or dwelling too much on the past. This concept teaches us that life is made up of small, boring, mundane tasks, but when we do that small, boring, mundane thing the best we can with mindfulness and dedication, it leads to greatness and inner peace and personal growth. So I know that sounds like an Instagram card. I 100% believe that. And it's a great book. It's great concepts, and I encourage you to dig in. So I want to dig in a little bit with you through this. Let's go here. There we go. Let's just walk through some of these inner concepts that go along with this larger one of chop wood, carry water. So one of the key things is to focus on the moment, focus on the present, be here, be present, be real, and get the one thing done that you're supposed to get done. So let's break this down a little bit. Practicing mindfulness. Okay, how do I get in a mindful state? Well, there's some ways to approach it. This is how I like to sort of think through these things. So take a few deep breaths, bring your attention to your breath, and release any distractions. And that's sort of like, it doesn't have to be official. It can be a very simple approach. And I think you can get into that state just by simply focusing on your breath. Coach Divine teaches us this approach of box breathing. And I've used box breathing a lot. I actually have my students do box breathing sometimes at the end of class, beginning of class, whatever, to sort of get them in state, or in them in a state that I want them to carry the lessons outside of the dojo with. So prioritizing your tasks. A lot of times we approach what we have to do. We approach our day, and it's just sort of like a big jumble of things. We don't really know what we have to do. And again, I don't think you have to literally keep a to-do list, although some people like to do that. I'm not like that. My son is like that. My wife is like that. They will literally write down to-do lists. I know a lot of people do that. I don't necessarily do that, but what I do is I find some time, maybe it's in the car or whenever, on the way to work or in between things or whatever. And I just sort of kind of take the macro, like the big picture of my day, and then I sort of break it down into like one or two or three, not more than that, but one or two things that if I end the day and I don't do these things, then the day wasn't one, you know? Like you can't have too many. You're going to do a lot of stuff, but you have to prioritize like one or two things that you can't end your day without getting done. Okay? Eliminate those distractions. You know, this is a hard one. Turning off those notifications on your phone, working in a quiet place, like maybe using noise canceling headphones or maybe you have an office you can close the door or just go outside or whatever you need to do. But whenever you're in that heads, and I know a lot of you know, some of you might not have jobs like this, but um you know, I do, so this is where I'm coming from. But you know, I've got to have 2 or 3 hours of distraction free time to really get what I need done. And what I found is like if I have that, I can actually get most of the day, if not all's work done in that little pocket of time, as long as I'm focused and not distracted. That means not looking at my phone. That means not checking emails. You know, they'll still be there in 3 hours. I don't need to respond within, you know, 30 seconds of someone sending me an email. We can get caught in that loop. And I think it can really derail our day. Setting achievable goals. Break tasks into smaller, manageable steps and focus on one at a time. Avoiding overwhelming yourself. So you can, you know, a lot of times we get so grandiose in our goals and what we want to do, that exercise of sitting there and writing things down can get out of hand. You can wind up having too much stuff on your list. Um, you have to break things down from that macro to that micro, right? But you can't, in my opinion, you can't get too micro to the point where you're just, you know, fumbling with making lists and not actually doing anything. How many times have you had that, you know, Monday meeting at work where all you guys do is just go through everything that needs to be done for all time? You know, that's very inefficient. You know, I hate those. I like to have like, you know, hey, we're going to get together and talk. What is the outcome? You know, solving these two problems. Good, let's do that. And I'm out. Um, a lot of times people think I'm a jerk for the way I approach that stuff, but I just find it has to be done in order to get things done. Celebrating those small wins. Okay, this helps you get into the thing, right? So if you're, you know, if you're not like me, you can't work for the 2 or 3 focused hours. Maybe you do have to work over the course of 8 or 9 hours or whatever. Take breaks. Celebrate getting those little things done. Celebrate those micro items. Acknowledge to yourself that you are making progress through the day, right? This can help stay motivated and focused. You know, remember to live in the moment. Okay, live in the moment and appreciate what you have done rather than stressing out about all the things that you haven't done. You're going to do that anyway. So try to force yourself to focus on, hey, I've accomplished these things. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Not too long, but keep moving. Um, if you do that, if you just stick down on all the things that I have to do. If I keep making those lists, if you know, it can get out of hand. It can get out of hand mentally. It can literally get out of hand, and you can have too much stuff to do that you'll never get it done. Okay. Um, Mindful productivity can help improve focus and productivity. Okay. Being productive is not just about cranking through the to-do list, right? It's about being present while you're doing it. So you bring yourself to it. Okay. All these things, all these things can help you become the greatest version of you that there exists. I promise. That's mostly what I get from the book and from this practice. All right. I want to talk about um, accepting and embracing simple routine tasks as opportunities for growth. I know, again, that sounds like an Instagram post, but it's getting Zen about the shit I have to do every day, right? Um, I'm not perfect and I haven't figured everything out, but I did have an epiphany a long time ago where I've been in business for myself for, over 20 years, in a web design company. It's a services based company. It means we serve clients. And for the first, I would say, you know, 10 years of that, I hated the idea that I had to answer to clients. I hated that. So I got caught in this trap of wanting to build products that had, I would say, customers instead of clients, right? I would be selling a widget instead of selling a service. And, I failed at it. And I think that's a common story with a lot of services companies where they sort of have disdain for the what they're doing, right? They're not in the moment of, I am a service provider. I am here for customer service. I'm here for working with people. Once I accepted that and was like, hey, in my brain, I was like, hey, this is how it's going to be. This is what I do. I can fight it or I can just accept it and try to be the best at it and engineer my day and my life around that sort of a thing. And once I did that, I really honestly started enjoying it. I got good at it. I enjoyed being good at the things that I do for people. Um, and I think you could too. So let's take a look at that. Embrace a growth mindset, right? Adopting the belief that every task, no matter how simple or routine, is an opportunity for growth and development. No matter how small and boring that thing is, you need to do it the best you can. You need to do it mindfully. Okay. When you go home at the end of the day, and you ever have those days where you go home and you're like, man, I crushed it today. That's usually because you were mindful and you did those mundane, everyday, repetitive things well. Maybe that means you did them quick. Maybe that means you did a bunch at one time. I don't know. Whatever that is for you. Gratitude. You have to practice this, right? Expressing gratitude for each task and recognize the value it brings to your life and others. That's sort of like the macro of what you're doing, the why. Like, no, I don't want to upload these images to this damn website. It's boring. Like, it's robot work. But if I do that and at the same time realize how thankful I am that that client trusts me to do this and pays me money that allows me to live the life I want to live, if I'm working in that zone, then it makes it more palatable. It just does for me. And I'm not trying to be a Boy Scout with that. It really does. Being present. Focus on those things, those whatever it is, focus on it and be engaged in it. Try to avoid multitasking and working in a distracted state. Okay. Find what gets you in the zone. Maybe it's music, maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's whatever. And I know that might sound counterintuitive when I said podcast, but whatever puts you in that mode that lets you focus and work on all those things. Okay. Now, what you can't do is write an email to your boss, write an email to a client, edit a website, sweep the floor, record your own podcast, watch a movie. Like you get it. It's a little silly, but you can't do all that stuff, right? You have to be present in the thing and get the thing done. Okay. I don't have the link or anything. Maybe I can find it, but like it's proven that you can't do more than one thing at one time well. Like you just can't do two things at once. What you do is you don't actually multitask. You don't actually do two things at once. What you do is you switch. You switch between things rapidly or slowly or whatever. So you're not doing one thing, you're doing multiple things, but you're switching between them. And so what happens is nothing actually gets done. What's worse is when you do something called context switching, when you switch between things that aren't necessarily related. Your brain really has a hard time with that. Okay. Find the meaning between what you're doing and the larger purpose. Okay. That's what I'm talking about, that macro, right? Give it a sense of significance. Attach the why. What's your why? Attach that to every single thing you do, and it will keep you motivated. At least it'll keep you motivated enough to get it done. Okay. Don't like perfection is a great goal. If you're honest with yourself, you realize you will never actually reach perfection. Okay. So if you're stalling and planning and thinking in order to make the first attempt of what you do perfect, you're never going to get anything done. Okay. So let it go. Embrace imperfection. See the mistakes you make as opportunities for learning and growth. Okay. That's why you have revisions. Like a movie script in Hollywood will go through like 100 revisions before it gets made into a movie. Okay. And especially the greatest ones, they get revised a lot. They get worked on a lot by a lot of different people. Okay. That's how we assemble lots of things together for the whole. Okay. Regularly check in with yourself to stay focused and motivated. So all the stuff in the first little part we talked about, check in, like check it against your why, check in against that macro. Okay. You got to do that. You got to kind of connect it. Okay. In order to kind of keep on task. We talked about this earlier, celebrating your progresses, right? Small victories, the little to-dos you get to check off. Maybe writing a literal list and checking things off or striking it out or getting a big fat Sharpie and just crossing it off. Maybe that makes you feel good. If it does, do it. Mindfulness, cultivating a mindful attitude by being present, non-judgmental, and aware of your thoughts and emotions. Okay. That's kind of key to the whole thing. Okay. Whenever you're working on that one little to-do or that task, again, connect it to that macro, connect it to the why. Okay. You got to be positive too. And I know that one really sounds like horseshit, but I promise you, you can either look, you got to do it. You can either be miserable and make everybody around you miserable, or you can at least be positive about it and connect it to your why. Okay. There's good from everything. There's some kind of positive outcome. Yeah, maybe your job sucks, but you're planning a big vacation. So every day that you hit that job means you're earning a day off that you can go on that vacation, whatever that thing is. And I know that's a super negative view of how to look at it, but man, you got to find something in there. Okay. We all have worked with that person or have a person we know or whatever that just like makes it miserable. You know, it sucks. Don't be that person. And hey, gut check. If you don't know that person might be you. So you might want to audit yourself there. Okay. Continually seeking out opportunities to learn and grow, even in the simplest of tasks. Where can you, in all the little things you do, where can you expand yourself? Where can you learn? Where can you look for those things? Always be on the lookout for those things. Okay. That's super, super important. Let's see here. Where do we want to go next? Yeah. Okay. So, how do I, how do I find mindfulness and gratitude in all the little boring bullshit things? It ain't easy, folks, but you can do it. Okay. Let's just hit this real quick. Start each day with a reminder to be present and grateful. Find something that lets you be grateful. Okay. A good friend of mine, Aaron, on the other shows, he has, what is his saying? You probably know it better than I do if you listen to the show. Today I will be happy, wealthy, and wise, and free. He added at the end there. That's his little mantra that helps keep him centered, present, and grateful for what he's doing. There's an old samurai saying or whatever you want to say, and it's from the Hagakure. I think it's like a great book on how to be a samurai, or it's like a Bushido textbook. But every night, this dude would, in his meditation before bed, he would envision his family and his home and all his belongings just burning up in a big fire. His home would burn up, and he would lose everything. And he did that so that when he woke up the next day, he would be in his home with his family. He would be grateful that they're still there. I think something's lost in translation on that, but I think the point stands that find some way to see that you are thankful for whatever it is, okay? Whatever that thing is. Like, you may not want to go into work, but at least, maybe you have a home. You're able to listen to this podcast. So whatever you're listening to this podcast on, at least be grateful that you have that thing that you can listen to this podcast on, okay? Take a moment and reflect on the purpose of each task and the impact it has on others, okay? Just be mindful of why it's being done, who you're doing it for, what is the bigger thing that it flows into, what is that macro, and be connected to that, okay? Throughout the day when you're working, practice your deep breathing and these first two things, okay? To remain focused and centered on all that bullshit, all those little things that you hate. I promise you, box breathing works. I promise you, focusing on that breath, you are breathing, you are alive. I'm not trying to sound too hoodoo voodoo, but I'm serious. It works. Trust me, try it. Maybe you're the type that does need to write this stuff down. So try to keep a journal. And I don't mean like a diary. I mean like write a gratitude journal. Regularly write in there what you're thankful for as you're going through these mundane, boring things that you hate doing, right? Because let's be real, not everything is awesome that you get to do. And you find thankfulness to kind of help yourself power through them. Write that down. And that after a while, you have a nice list of things you can look back on that will help you. Okay. One task at a time. One task at a time. Don't multitask. Focus on one task at a time and give it your full attention. Okay. You're going to get through it faster that way. Remember, we cannot multitask. We switch. We task switch. Avoid negative self-talk. Okay, that's another one. Like, if you're at work and you're in the shit and you got a pile of crap you don't want to do, don't make it worse by focusing on how bad this is, right? Your brain is going to fight you. Your brain is going to want to make you do that, but you have to fight it. You have to fill it with positive vibes, right? That's what the other things are. The connecting it to that macro, being thankful for whatever that you've cooked up. Use those as armor against that negative self-talk, okay? Small wins and victories, celebrate them, whatever. Use affirmations to stay motivated and focus. So, we talked about the one Aaron has. Generate your own, okay? Whatever that is. If it is that little thing that you're grateful for, that macro, say it to yourself whenever that negative thing comes in your head. Like I said, that if that's your armor, use it, okay? Practice self-compassion and be kind to yourself when challenges arise. I'm going to tell you, just like the other, where we talked about avoiding self-talk just now, there's a thing where if you talk to other people the way you talk to yourself internally, I bet those other people would probably be very mad at you. They wouldn't be your friends, at least, because we treat ourselves so crappy. We talk to ourselves so crappy. And that's a harming cycle. Okay. That can get you down that spiral and get you out of, chop wood, carry water. It can derail you. And the last thing here I'm going to leave you with is cultivate meaningful relationships and share your gratitude with others. Okay. Let's leave it there. It's so important to build relationships with people that you can talk to. And I don't mean those friends that you can just bitch about everything with, although that can have positive outcomes too. You can at least bond over some things depending on how bad your environment might be in. But sharing that gratitude, okay, like saying those things, saying it out loud. I've often thought that any success I've had in things in business life, whatever, is because I put it out into the universe. I said it out loud, or I wrote it down, or I told other people about it. The same thing applies to your gratitude and all the things we're talking about here, becoming the best version of you that you can be. It can get you into that mindset, or at least that other person can check you sometimes or whatever. Very important. All right, that's all I've got. Wanted to make it kind of quick compared to other shows. Chop wood, carry water. If you're interested in the book, um, grab it from the link there. Go get the book. It's a really fast read, or the audio book, whatever. You'll read it in like an hour or so. Chop wood, carry water. Just keep on keeping on, y'all. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope this introduced you some new concepts or whatever. If you like the show, share it. That would be very helpful. Getting the word out. That's the one thing that I would ask you. Other than that, thank you for your time. I know it's important, and I know that there's lots of other things you could do and lots of other people you could be listening to. So thank you very much. Until next time.